Welcome to the Hello Sunday podcast with me, Nikki Hayden. This is the podcast that discusses everything self-development, spirituality and sobriety. And it wouldn't be me without a little sprinkling of humour. Whether you are just starting out on your journey of self-development or have been exploring these topics for years, are completely alcohol-free or just curious about living a more sober lifestyle, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I'll be exploring topics in both solo episodes and with some amazing guest experts. So if you like what you hear, then please subscribe, rate and review. So with that said, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Hello Sunday. How are we all, guys? Have we had a good week? There's a lot going on at the moment. It feels like there is a lot going on with Halloween being in the middle of the week. There were still Halloween celebrations happening last weekend. There was bonfire night celebrations. That was also in the middle of the week. And so they have now gone on to the weekend. They were also on Halloween weekend. There's just a lot going on in the UK anyway. And I am actually aware that people in other countries don't necessarily know what bonfire night is. It's basically a night where in the UK we celebrate the fact that Guy Fawkes didn't manage to blow up the Houses of Parliament. And yeah, basically we all set off fireworks and light fires, and it's probably a bit of a strange celebration actually to everybody that isn't in the UK. I mean, we've all grown up with it, but that's been going on. Halloween's been going on. We've had the US election. It's been a lot. It feels like there's been a lot of like news and stuff this week, but also a lot of celebration, which I'm here for. I love celebrating anything and being in the energy of, you know, communal celebrations across the country. So yeah, super nice vibes this week. But also it's got a little bit colder, a little bit darker. Feels like we're going into more of the winter months, which again, I'm kind of here for. I kind of embrace it, but I know I've got others in my life that aren't as keen. So yeah, if that is you, then I'm sending lots of love and good vibes, but you know, it's going to be here, so you might as well embrace it. So what have I been up to? Let's have a very, very quick catch up before we dive in to today's episode. So last weekend I went back to my family home, the town that I'm from, stayed with my parents, saw some old friends. I think I was saying on last week's episode how you've just got those friends, or maybe you haven't, but most people that I know have just got those friends, and it's normally friends that you have got a kind of a historic, deeper relationship with, maybe friends that you've grown up with or you've had for a number of years, where it's just comfortable and it's just, they're your people. And so I got to see some of those again last weekend, which was so nice. I was only there for a couple of hours. There was a Halloween party one of our friends was hosting, but the whole point of me going back last weekend was to support my family through some tough kind of stuff that's going on at the minute, and I didn't want to be out for a long time and not have that time with them, because that was my priority. So, and also with not drinking, it gets to a point in the night where you kind of maybe don't want to be around everybody. So I just went for a couple of hours, and yeah, it was just so nice. It was so nice to see everyone and so nice to be in that energy. I belly laughed and just had the best time. So that was lovely. And then, yeah, saw my family. I spent a lot of time with my nan, saw my parents. Just, honestly, it was just lovely. We just have such a nice time together. But yeah, navigating through a lot of really heavy health issues. Not me, but people really close to me. Obviously my nan's aging, and there's a lot of stuff around that comes with it, and extra care that's needed and responsibility that's put onto the family. So it's just a lot, and you know, some of that is hopefully going to get better soon. Some of it, like my nan's age, is not. It's just, you know, kind of how things are now. So we're trying to kind of navigate that together as a family, but also I'm trying to provide as much support as I can with living over 100 miles away. You know, it's not the easiest. So that was last weekend. And then this week, we had a bit of a failure on bonfire night. We went to go and watch some fireworks, and actually the place that we had our wedding meal when we got married in the UK, it's a really, really cute like gastro pub stroke restaurant, and they've got like a really big outdoor space. So they were doing like a viewing party of the local fireworks. There's some street food vans, and we got there, stood in a queue for some pizza, and then we're told it was going to be an hour, which would have taken us beyond the time when the fireworks finished. So we made the decisions to order a Domino's, grab it, and then go and sit in the car and watch fireworks. So it was a bit of a different evening than we planned, but it meant that I was home by 8 p.m. to watch Bake Off, because that is one of my favourite shows, and just wholeheartedly just the most wholesome show, isn't it? It's just so nice. So yeah, you're learning about me, guys. You're learning about me. So yeah, not a huge amount else has happened. Business has been quite good this week, and that actually ties in a little bit to what I want to talk about today. So my husband and I had a bit of a Harry Potter marathon the last few weeks. We'd watched the first 4 episodes, I think, and we'd got episodes, God, you can tell them into series mode, the first 4 films, movies, however you want to phrase it, and we got the last 4 to watch. Now, weirdly, and I don't know how I'd managed to do this, but I'd read the first 5 books years ago when they first came out when I was like 15, 16, and then never read the last books, never read 6, 7 and 8, and also never watched the films. So I actually didn't know what happened. And so I said to my husband, I really want to watch these films. Will you watch them with me? And he was like, yeah, why not? I will watch them. And we'd already watched the first 4, like I say. So anyway, we decided to watch the 6th one, The Half-Blood Prince, on one Saturday night, and we had some snacks and, snuggled into a blanket. And bear with me, if you're not a Harry Potter fan, this isn't Harry Potter related as such, but it was just a really interesting takeaway and lesson from the film. So there's one part of the film, I was going to say one scene, but I think it goes over a few scenes, where Harry wins what is called liquid luck. He wins this like little vial of serum in, I think it's a potions lesson. And the whole purpose of liquid luck is that essentially it gives you success in whatever endeavour you pursue following consumption of the liquid luck. So you basically drink the liquid luck, and then whatever you do after that, you basically will be successful in. So Harry gives it to Ron, or pours it in Ron's drink ahead of his Quidditch match, because Ron is not a very confident Quidditch player, and Harry knows that if he has the liquid luck, that he will be, successful in it, and it will give him extra confidence. So he pours it into his drink, also we think. And then later on, we find out that actually, whilst Ron has gone on to do incredibly in the Quidditch match, and he's gone on to win it, and I think he's the goalkeeper, so he's like defended all the goals, he's not conceded any, he's like, absolute hero of the day. We find out that he didn't actually give him the liquid luck. So it was all a placebo effect. It was all a mindset trick. And isn't that just how confidence and self-belief works? You believe that you're going to be able to do something. In this case, it wasn't Ron's belief in his own abilities. It was the belief that he'd consumed something that was going to allow him to do that. Then he went ahead and did the thing because he had the self-confidence and the self-belief because of his mindset. And then once you've done the thing, you have evidence to show that you're capable of doing it. And so the next time, it's, you can draw on that evidence, you can draw on that self-belief that you've actually done the thing, the hard thing. And it just got me thinking, like, how many times in life have we done something because our mindset was in the right place, that our self-belief was there. And this ties in quite heavily to the episode that I did on the limiting beliefs. So I'll tag that in the show notes. I'll link it so that if you haven't listened to that one, go back, because there's a really good exercise in there for uncovering your own limiting beliefs and then how to rebuild them into beliefs that serve you. But for me, this has shown up so many times in my life. I think one of the most prevalent, or the times that kind of I can recall the easiest, was when I was doing my driving test. So I had a driving instructor initially when I was doing my lessons and then subsequently my test, who wasn't that encouraging. They weren't very, I don't know how to say it. They just weren't very encouraging. They would point out everything that you were doing wrong, which I get, you need to understand what you're doing wrong. But if it's any minor things that you're not going to fail for, sometimes it's things that could have been overlooked. So he would like literally physically smack my hand off the wheel when I grabbed the gear stick when I went to change gear too soon, rather than just sort of telling me. So that immediately was like a huge pattern break, and it jolted me. And it, anybody like hitting you or striking you, and it wasn't hard, but you certainly wouldn't get away with doing it these days. This was, 20 years ago. And it would just make me feel like I was like doing something really wrong. And then he would like shout, and I can't remember him ever giving me words of encouragement or praise when I did something right. And as a result of that, I went into that first driving test, and I'll be honest, I was absolutely petrified. And I just remember thinking the minute that I sat in the car, like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. And if you genuinely believe that you can't do something, the likelihood is that you're actually going to give yourself reason to believe that you can't, and therefore, the confidence that you have in yourself is shaken, and there's quite probably a high possibility that you're not going to do the thing, or you're not going to have as much success. And then on the contrary, there's been things that I've gone into, like for instance, I always remember, so I did dance for like maybe 20 years, just shy of 20 years. So I was a dancer from like when I was young, a small child. And then when I was 16, I started teaching at the dance school that I was, when I was kind of 12 or 13, I was helping to assist. But then I became a fully fledged dance teacher at the age of 16 and taught at that dance school for like 11 or 12 years. And I was always told that I was really good at dance. I was always told that I was really elegant when I did ballet, that I was, super flexible, that I'd got the right level of kind of like attitude and attack for the street dance stuff. And I just always had this self-belief that whatever it was, that I would pick it up quickly, that I would be able to do it, and that I would get through, the performance or the choreography. And I remember once I went into what was called a medal test. So we used to do exams, which were like formal, and then there was a medal test, which basically was where you would dance for a medal, and then if you got the top mark, distinction, you could go and dance again for the next medal up, which you'd do the same dance on the day, but they'd grade you for the next medal up. You could only do it once, but you had the opportunity to do that. And I went in to one of my medal tests and completely forgot the dance, like literally halfway through, just completely forgot the whole choreography. But because I had self-belief in myself that I was a good dancer and that I could get through it, I just carried on. And I got the top mark, I got the distinction. And then little, I don't know, self-assured, arrogant me only went on and decided to do it again, knowing full well that it would be a completely different dance, because I'd go away and rehearse that afternoon the dance that I was meant to have done, to go in and dance for the next medal up. So completely forgot the dance, which would have thrown most people off, would have been like a massive, freezing moment. But because in my mind I was like, oh, I've got this, it's fine. I did it, and then I went and danced for the next medal up and got a pass on that as well. So that was all about self-belief. Had that have been something that maybe I wasn't as confident in, like most people, I probably would have gone to absolute shit during that assessment. But for some reason with dance, it was just never an issue. I was always super confident that I knew what I was doing, even if I didn't. And that self-confidence had come from not only knowing that I was at a decent level, but also being told that consistently, by my friends, by other people's parents that came to watch, by my dance principal. It was just drummed into me. And so therefore the self-belief and confidence that I had never really wavered, to be honest. And some people might say that's like borderline arrogance. Some people might say it is just self-confidence. But, whatever it was, I'd like to think I'm not an arrogant person. And then on the other end of the spectrum, and I think I've told this story before, but when I left my agency in Birmingham, my recruitment consultancy, and moved to Leeds, they called my director, one of my old directors, who I'm still really, really good friends with, for a reference. And she basically said, really great things about me. She told them that I was, had a super high work ethic, that my delivery was next to none, that I was, one of the best in the business in terms of service levels, trustworthiness, transparency, all of that stuff. And then they asked her if there was anything that I could improve on. Now, on reflection, they asked this question, so there was no reason why I should feel the way that I felt about it. But she said to them, well, I don't think that business development has ever been her strong suit. I think that she's probably stronger on the delivery side, but actually, it might just be because she hasn't had the opportunity to do it as much, because I was working on some big accounts that, got regular work. And that stuck with me. When I got told that, when my new directors at the new agency told me that, I remember feeling like suddenly it just made me feel like I was incapable of business development. And that has not necessarily followed me through in the same way. I definitely have given myself evidence to the contrary, but that is something that has stuck with me, in as much as I never feel like I am the best at that. And don't get me wrong, I know we can't all be the best at everything, but it has definitely affected my confidence and self-belief in that. And I was talking to somebody about it this week, because actually I'm doing more work in the US market now. I'm broadening my network in that space. And they were saying to me, look, if you're going to do that, you really need to get your self-belief back in the fact that you can do it. You need to evidence, which is what I talked about in the limiting beliefs episode that I'll link below. You need to evidence why it is that you can do that and how you've done it in the past, because your brain otherwise is automatically going to go, every time you get a rejection or a no or a door closed, which is, every day in recruitment, to, oh, I can't do this and I'm not good at this. So taking it back to Harry Potter, Ron had no evidence that he was good. He didn't think he was good. He felt like he wasn't as good as everybody else. He was comparing himself. He wasn't looking at, the positives. And clearly he was capable of doing the thing, because he didn't have any external help in the end. The liquid look wasn't something that he consumed. It was just his mindset being, quite frankly, a bit of a cock block. So I was really interested in knowing what actually is the science behind this, because there must be some science behind self-belief and confidence. And I guess, are they the same thing? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I think probably confidence is like, for those of you that are regular listeners to the show, or maybe you know me personally, you won't have been able to get away without hearing me talk about Simprove. Simprove is a scientifically backed, water-based probiotic drink. You drink it daily, and it has been scientifically proven to help with things like bloating, IBS symptoms, pain. It was actually a dietitian friend of mine that introduced it to me last year, and I honestly wouldn't be without it now. It's helped with my energy, with my bloating, it's helped with my immune system, and also things like my skin. The list is honestly endless. Now, I have got a code for you. So if you'd like to try Simprove, you can get 50%, that's a massive 50% off your first 3 month subscription by going on to simproof.com and putting in the code Nikki50. That's NIKKI50, or clicking the link in the show notes. Your ability to be your own cheerleader and to back yourself, but it's also the ability to keep you on your A game and to keep you, doing the thing. But, apparently, according to science, it's not just about feeling good about yourself. That is more like self-esteem. It's knowing that you can rely on yourself to handle what situations come your way and to be able to deal with things. And so, like, for me, when we moved into this house, I hadn't had to do any DIY or like home stuff before, because my parents lived 10 minutes down the road when I had my flat in Birmingham, and they used to come and do all that stuff. So when things started going wrong, it was up to us to do it. Now, my husband is an incredible cook. He is the best emotional support. He's so amazing in so many ways, but DIY and stuff like that is not his strong suit. Like, he's just not a handyman. Whereas I felt a little bit better equipped to do that. So I started doing these little DIY projects. I mean, I started off changing a tap, which probably wasn't the simplest to start off with, but hey ho, in for a penny, in for a pound. Started off changing a tap. I would paint. I stripped and sanded our stairs and repainted them, and we had a runner fitted. God, I did a ton of stuff actually thinking about it, fitted curtain poles. This isn't stuff that is, rocket science, put up shelves, but for somebody that had never done anything before, never used a drill, it was massive. And every single time that I managed to complete a project or get something done, that gave me that self-confidence to know that I could handle the next thing. A bit of YouTube. Don't think I'd have been able to do this back in, the early 90s when YouTube wasn't a thing necessarily, but it is, and I utilised it. So using those resources, I was able to build the self-confidence to know that, you've got this. What did I have that self-confidence the first time that I put up a shelf or changed a tap? No, but I knew that I'd got enough about me to know that I'd got intelligence to follow the instructions, and that, I could go and get the right tools and give it my best shot. So in terms of the actual science, our brains have got areas called, which you might have heard of, the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. And the prefrontal cortex is like the CEO of decision making and risk assessment. It's where we weigh up options. It's where we make plans. It's basically where we run the show. And then there's the amygdala, which is your emotional processing hub. That is the bit that deals with feelings like anxiety and fear. It's what comes to life when you're in a fight or flight situation, or where you're experiencing something that's high emotions. But your brain can change. I mean, we've spoken about neuroplasticity so many times on this podcast, but we have the ability to change, whether that is through visualization or through doing things. Our brain will change when we have evidence to support stuff, to support the fact that we can do stuff. And so you can actually train your brain to be more confident. So every time you complete a task, or you face a fear, or you make a tough decision, it's not just that thing that you're overcoming. It's not just the challenge, but you're actually rewiring your brain to be more confident as a default setting, rather than just once in a blue moon. So confidence is more than a feeling. It's actually your brain's ability to adapt and grow and prove to yourself that with a bit more effort and understanding of what it is that you've got to do, you literally can become more confident. You can do the hard thing and you can become more confident in doing it. And so the link between feeling confident and actually achieving, so I guess the buzz that you have when you feel confident, it's not just good vibes. It's actually your brain setting you up for success. It's the science that backs up the fact that, you've got the ability to change your brain and in changing your brain the next time that you go to attack something or do something, it's actually not as hard as it was before you did the thing the first time. So there was a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, and it found that individuals with higher levels of confidence consistently showed superior decision-making and leadership abilities. And then another piece of research highlighted in, and I'm not going to be able to say this word, neuroimage, showed that confident people are more likely to take calculated risks, which is a must-have trait for any leader that is looking to innovate. Because innovation or trying something new is out of the comfort zone. It's probably like uncharted territory, and you've got to have confidence in your abilities. And this week, this has actually shown up quite highly in that, and this is not me going down a political route, this is not my sharing political beliefs or anything like that, but Donald Trump, before he went into his first presidential election, he was probably not as confident as winning as he was this time, because he hadn't done it before. It was uncharted territory. But you better believe that that guy went into it. And this is not me saying I'm a Trump supporter, by the way, don't get it twisted. But actually, as somebody to study from a confidence perspective, that man knocks it out the park. Whether he actually believes it or not, who knows? I mean, I think that he probably does. But he went into his first presidential election campaign like he was winning that thing already. And as a result of that, he did. And then this time around, let's be honest, well, I'm not going to get into it, but there's people out there that would say that he probably wasn't the best president that America has ever seen, but he still went into this campaign and used what he knew about his followers and voters to his advantage, and went into it with confidence again. And it is a bit of a masterclass about how to approach things, Our brains do have the ability to change with evidence that we can do the thing, and it's only by doing the thing that you're going to get that evidence. So confidence doesn't just make you feel like you can conquer the world and do the thing. It actually equips your brain with the tools to do it once you've done it, from taking smarter risks to innovating new ideas, leading teams, doing something for the first time. You have to do the hard thing to be able to equip your brain with the ability to have the confidence to do it next time. And so demonstrating that by Ron Weasley is basically, he didn't have the confidence to do the thing. So one of his best friends equipped him, in inverted commas, with that confidence. And actually he thought he was equipping him with something like really physical, like an actual drug to make him more confident. But in essence, all he was equipping him with was some self-belief via a placebo effect, via some words of wisdom. It wasn't actually anything that he didn't already have inside him. And I think that's the really key takeaway from all this. People can give you self-belief, people can big you up, people can tell you that you're great at the thing, but unless you actually believe it yourself, it's meaningless, it's pointless. And the way that you really go on to believe it yourself is by doing the things and giving yourself evidence that you can do the things. So if I had gone into those dance classes and my medal test thinking, everybody tells me I'm good at this, but I really don't think I am, I could have done exactly the same routine and probably not had the same outcome, because the confidence and self-belief and attitude wouldn't have been there. It's like somebody taking a golf shot or a penalty, a famous footballer taking a penalty in a competition. You see those athletes get into the zone before they take it. And that isn't just calming their nerves. That is visualization. It's self-talk. It's getting to the point of self-belief before they actually commit to the action, because they know that a split second of self-doubt and it can all go out the window. And sometimes other people can give you that externally, which will help boost that. If you're in a situation where people are saying, you can't do this, you're rubbish, some of us might think, I'll fucking show you. But some of us might internalize that. But equally, people can be telling you that you're the best thing since sliced bread and that you can do the thing. And if you don't believe it yourself, there's still chances that, you know, it's not going to happen. Ron didn't believe that he could do it, even though his friends were all telling him that he could. It was only when he thought that he'd got something inside himself, which was there all along, that he actually went ahead and did it. So I just found that really interesting. I thought that, you know, Harry Potter had done a really good job of, well, it wasn't Harry Potter, was it? J.K. Rowling had done a really good job of showing younger people that actually, you know, you can do it. It's all inside you. And sometimes I think that we need reminding of that. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. Please do go on, and it literally takes less than 5 seconds to do a 5-star review or to follow the show. Share it with somebody that you think might benefit from it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you all again and coming into your ears all again next Sunday. Have a fantastic week. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at HelloSundayPod, or you can email us on hellosundaypod@outlook.com. Have a great week.